Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, today in just 5 minutes, we're talking about what investors can possibly expect this year in small cap stocks. But first, the basics, Sean. For anyone who doesn't really, not familiar with the lingo, I suppose, what exactly is a small cap? Can you give me some examples?
Well, it's a very broad term. A small cap is generally considered a listed company with a market cap of maybe a few $1 billion. That's what it's worth. Outside the top 100, definitely. That covers a lot of companies, from smaller retailers to travel companies and plenty of miners and tech companies. Remember, this is general information only, and you should get professional advice before making investment decisions. Matthew Kidman is the principal of Centennial Asset Management. Matthew, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Hi, gentlemen.
What is it about small caps that make them so interesting to investors?
Well, in theory, they should, because they're smaller, grow quicker than the larger companies, because they're coming from a smaller base. They're making their way in the world. And if you can grow quicker, you can get a better share price return over the following years. And obviously, maybe they're not as well researched, so you can find some gems in there.
Okay. What sectors mostly have small caps? There seems to be lots in the mining sector, for example, and retailing too.
Yeah, there's a lot. Obviously, there's some industries that are consolidated, such as food retailing and banking and insurance. Not many small caps there. But outside that, you've pretty well got everything. You've got retailing, technology. There's a lot of companies, resources, gold in particular. We've got hundreds and hundreds of little gold companies in Australia, which makes it quite interesting. But you've got to be a generalist. You can't be very specific in the small cap world.
Okay, so let's get on to some specific companies, Matthew. Are there any that you're keeping an eye on for 2023?
Yeah, I think so, Sean. It's been an interesting period. It's been terrible for small caps in 2022 calendar year, especially the industrials. They used to be led by the technology sector, and as well documented now, those high growth, some not so profitable companies with interest rates rising on the back of inflation have been smashed. Does that mean they're going to come back? Some will, some won't. Some have been taken over. But what it has done, it's meant that a lot of small companies, micro companies at the really small end, have been left behind. So there's definitely some companies we're looking at. One, for example, which does relate to resources, is MMA Offshore. Just had an upgrade. They provide boats effectively, helping oil and gas companies and offshore wind farms. And that market's booming. It's been a disaster going back 3 or 4 years, but it's booming. So we like that. And as I said, you've got to be a generalist. If you switch over to childcare, another disastrous area where there's been an overbuild, there's been too many childcare places, then we had COVID. And the largest one there, but still a small cap, is G8. It looks like the supply of childcare centres is slowing, but the demand under the new federal government is firming. So we like that scenario. And one that's been really hit hard and found hard to bounce and been really knocked around by COVID was Viva Leisure, which is a gym operator around mainly New South Wales, but into Victoria and Queensland. A lot of gyms being closed, share prices fallen a lot. They had to recapitalise in trying to stay alive. And now you've got a company that is struggling under the weight of some big institutional shareholders that are stuck in there that don't want to be in small caps. Everyone wants somewhere where they can get liquidity.
Okay. So when you're looking at these stocks, a generalist, but are you looking kind of for management? Are you looking for track records? Is there some sort of rule of thumb if people are looking at small caps to go by? Because I'm sure there would be plenty of CEOs of a company worth $200 million happy to tell you how good their company is. But, what is it you should be looking for?
Well, let's go from the financials first. You're looking for a good balance sheet. A small company is not too big to fail. It can fail. It can put up a sign and go into administration. You want a balance sheet that can survive. That's why sometimes companies during COVID had to raise money, and same with the GFC. Second thing you're looking for, as I said earlier on, you need earnings growth. Otherwise, why bother going into small caps? And, of course, good management. Normally, a lot of the small companies are founder-led, so they've still got people who started them running them. Not always, but a lot of them, and that's quite interesting because they're quite entrepreneurial and they know their business inside out. So they're the things we're always looking at.
Okay, one final question. Small caps versus big caps versus mid-size. How do you think small caps will go in 2023 relative to other sectors?
I would think they're going to outperform just because they've underperformed. They've been hit very hard, and I think as the year progresses, 2023, we will see small caps come into favour as the markets improve and liquidity comes back into the market.
Matthew, thanks for talking to Fear and Greed.
Thank you.
That was Matthew Kidman, Principal of Centennial Asset Management. Michael, definitely worthwhile keeping an eye on small caps in 2023.
Yeah, certainly is. And as always, you should get that professional advice before making any investment decisions. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
That's it for today. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. There is a new episode every day, regular business news as well, back from January 16. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was The Fast Five by Fear and Greed.